I am Stephanie Kilgast, an artist living in Van, and in today's video I would like to touch a bit about online teaching, more specifically art-related online teaching. So most fine art artists earn money in different ways. So of course they sell their own artwork, but then usually there are three categories basically. Those who keep a day job, so they don't really have to think about earning money. Often it's a part-time day job. Those who sell prints and merch that is related to their art. So those who have more of a handmade business type of plan with inventory and packaging and shipping things out to their customers. And then there are those who do teaching, so either in art schools, which I feel like is probably a bit more prestigious, and those like me who do online teaching and occasionally workshops. So those are like the three types of way most artists earn a living on top of selling their art, because let's be frank, just selling your artwork is pretty difficult. It's doable, I do it, and it's a huge chunk of my general income, but online teaching is sort of like a financial crutch. So I know I'm going to have a certain income every month and I'm not going to be poor and, living on the street. And I feel like as an artist, financial stability, pretty priceless. I personally don't do much prints. I use a third-party website to do prints. I use Redbubble. I know there are other sites, but I'm not really into doing prints and I don't want to promote them too much. I certainly don't want to make them myself for several reasons. For one, I live in a small town. We don't really have a good printing place to do high-quality prints. I don't want to buy a printer. They're pretty expensive. And I'm not sure I just want to do prints because I've worked as a handmade business for years. I remember the days where I would always pack everything and write a note and ship and all. And I don't miss that in the slightest, so it's not something I really want to do anymore. Right now, my business plan is more geared towards, of course, my main focus is my artwork, and I've been working towards selling it by myself on my website, also through galleries. But of course my artwork is pretty expensive because it just takes so long, and that's fine, but I still sell it, so it's good. But it's not as sure, so to speak, than something else. So on the side I do online teaching. And I decided to do online teaching. Honestly, at the beginning I just wanted to try it out and see if it would work, just simply work. And I decided to go with Skillshare just because they reached out to me. So yeah, that's just like, it's terrible advice. Don't do that. If you want to do online teaching, it might be good to really look into all the places, because there are like 1,000 different websites. But yeah, Skillshare reached out to me and I started to use them, and I just continued using them until it worked. So for me, it took about 1 year to work. At some point I was like, I need to try and see if this is going to be an actual possible income, like monthly income. I decided to make one new class per month, so it's not a lot, between 3 and 5 days of work per month. And so I did that for about a year. So I'm going to be honest with numbers, just so you get an idea. So I'm not one of the biggest teachers on Skillshare, not at all. I'm not doing anything that is trendy. I don't really try to follow trends in general, and I do a very difficult medium, which is sculpting. And let's be honest, there are not as many people who are interested in that. I do also some watercolor classes for that reason, because they tend to work a little bit better, but I just have 3 so far. So bear all of that in mind. So in a year I was able to achieve about $900,000 per month, which I think is really good considering the little amount of work I put into it. As I said, ideally it's about 5, let's say a week of work every month. But if I don't work, for instance, this year was pretty horrible because, it was horrible, but for other reasons. But in my personal artistic life, it wasn't horrible. I went to an art residency in London, then the pandemic happened, so I had to go back. Anyway, I didn't do a lot of classes this year, I think, until now. So for the 6 last months, I maybe did 2 classes, and the one I've been working this week, so 3 classes, which is very little. But I still, my income, like it goes down slightly, but it's still at $800. So that's the good thing with passive income, is that you put regularly some work in it, but if you make a longer pause, you still earn some money because you have all the other work that still brings money in, if that makes sense. For me, it's kind of perfect because I know that sometimes I get very invested in my artwork and my fine art-related projects, and I just don't have the time to bother too much about doing things that bring in money. It gives me a financial stability, and it makes my life so much easier. So that's why I do online teaching. So in terms of gear, what I'm using right now is a Canon EOS 80D. So it's probably not the camera that I would recommend. I think it's SD card related, but I can only record 30 minutes and then it just stops. And for me it's fine. I usually don't record more than 30 minutes. Most of the time I record like short snippets of 10 minutes, between 5 and 15 minutes. Whatever I do in my artwork is not fast paced, so I don't really need to record like everything from start to finish, and I never do that. I personally bought that camera because I do pictures of my work. In that sense, I wanted a good quality camera to do photography more than record videos. I have a microphone and a tripod that I have been having for longer before because I used to do tutorials but with pictures, so I needed a tripod. What else do you need as gear? Maybe daylight bulb or lamp if you are living in a place where you don't have a lot of natural light. I'm super lucky. I have lots of natural light. I'm just going to film it with this one. Which is just my phone. Nowadays, phones are actually pretty good. So yeah, so I have like this huge shed and I have all that natural light that comes in, and automatically I have a studio that is lit. So I don't really have too much of a problem. So yeah, that's pretty much what you need. A phone will probably do the job if you have a good one. Another thing is I would not recommend you to do online teaching if you're starting out in the arts department, so you really want to be skilled. I've seen some classes from unskilled people and it's just very frustrating, and they just don't get views and they might get bad reviews, so it can put you in a difficult spot to start out too soon when you want to teach. So I did start to teach, I think 5 years in, so I was already sculpting. I've been sculpting for 5 years, and I had a workshop opportunity, and that's how I started teaching. And then I started doing other online teaching, and then I wrote a book. But yeah, it took me some time to first master what I was doing before teaching. So it seems pretty obvious, but I can guarantee you I've seen a lot of tutorials from people who have no clue what they're doing, and it's not good. Yeah, that's all I can think of about online teaching. If you have questions, I suppose, ask them in the comments. I might have forgotten to mention something. But yeah, online teaching is a great way for artists to earn a living, at least. I mean, some artists just do that. To be fair, I think artists who do only online teaching, they are much richer than I am, because then they have a better thought through business plan with their website only doing online teaching. Because obviously when you go through a third-party website like Skillshare, they pay you royalties, but you don't get as much money as you could if you would sell it directly to people. But in my case, I don't want to promote my teaching too much. So the only thing I do is I will post it in my stories, like, oh, look, I made a new class, and that's it. I have also a page on my website, but I don't promote it very actively, and I kind of leave Skillshare work on its own, because I don't want to be associated with being a teacher. I want to be associated with being an artist and doing art, and teaching for me is a side hustle, and I really wanted to keep it as a side hustle, and so that people don't think, oh, she's a teacher, I can ask her to do this and teach me that, because I don't want to do that. Teaching is not something I love, it's just something I do because I can. And again, financial stability. I almost forgot to mention I use Adobe Premiere Pro for editing my videos. I used to use iMovie, but I recently bought a new computer. It's still so fresh, it was so nice. I didn't buy a new computer in 10 years, and my old one crashed, died on me. So I bought a new one, which was so expensive, but I'm really happy about it, and finally could take a Creative Cloud subscription, which I'm very happy about. Before that, I used to use iMovie, which honestly I had no problems with it. It was great, a lot easier than Adobe Premiere Pro. So I wouldn't say that you need the expensive thing. If you are on Mac, iMovie is plenty enough, and it was plenty enough for me for literally years. That's pretty much it about the software. That pretty much wraps it up. I really hope that this video kind of helped you. And again, if you have any questions about online teaching, you can ask in the comment section, or maybe if you have some input as well. So many people are teaching online right now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, you know, comment, share, subscribe, or not. It's up to you. And I really hope to see you in my next one. Bye!